It's important to know what these areas reveal in your claim because it has a lot to do with how possible it is for you to return to your past work as you performed it. And that's just for starters. You may have heard me in other videos talk about sequential evaluation and step 3 of sequential evaluation, talking about meeting or equaling a listing. But let's say you don't meet or equal a listing at this step. What will happen is the DDS examiner will have the case sent to the medical consultant on staff at the DDS. They will review your claim and the records, and then they'll provide and prepare what is called an RFC. It's a form that the MC will complete for your claim. RFC stands for Residual Functional Capacity Form. There is a physical version of this form specifically for physical conditions only that a physical doctor or physical MC will complete. And there's also a mental version called an MRFC that a psychologist or a psychiatrist on staff at the DDS will complete for your claim. We'll deal with the MRFC in another video, but for this video, our focus is on the PRFC, otherwise known as just the RFC. The RFC shows the most a person can do with their physical impairments and is based on an 8-hour workday. And that RFC call is made by the physical MC. The physical RFC has 6 sections, all dealing with some type of physical function and their degree of limitation in those areas. The form helps the DDS examiner to know if they can send the person back to their past relevant work, or if they can't send them back to their past work, if they can perform some other kind of work in the national economy based on their limitations. As I mentioned a moment ago, each function in the RFC has a degree of limitation associated with it. It could be a limitation in the number of hours. It could be a sort of frequency during the day that they can perform this function, or it's just some other kind of description of how much or how little they can do. Here are the 6 areas of limitation in the RFC, and they are the exertional, the postural, the manipulative, the visual, the communicative, and the environmental. Let's look at each one. The exertional section is the fundamental base for everything related to the RFC. It's like the entree of the meal. It's not a side dish. This is the core of the RFC. These 7 functions really control 90 to 95% of the entire RFC and how the RFC is treated when it comes to determining work abilities. Those 7 areas of the exertional section are standing, walking, sitting, lifting, carrying, pushing, and pulling. But the majority of the attention is on those first 5 of sitting, standing, walking, lifting, and carrying. Now, exertional is dealing with exactly what that word means. It's about how much exertion or effort or strength that it takes to perform these abilities. The second section, which is postural limitations, is dealing with the type of body position that you need to be in to perform a task, like climbing, stooping, crawling, or crouching. Your body has to be in a certain position, whether you're bending at the knees or you have to lift your leg, something along those lines. The third section is manipulative. And with manipulative is really dealing with your upper extremities, your arms. So if it's reaching, whether it's overhead or in front of you, grasping, which is called handling, there's fingering, and there's feeling. Those are the 4 areas of manipulative function. Then there's visual limitations. So a visual limitations is about being able to, where'd everything go? Oh yeah, there it goes. So visual limitations are using your eyes. Visual acuity, whether it's near acuity or far acuity. Do you have issues with depth perception and other functions that your eyes need in order to perform work duties. Then there's communicative limitations, and there's really two areas: hearing and speaking. And these are two that are really critical in being able to perform work. The last section is environmental, and environmental is dealing with the actual work environment that you're in, because some environments may be dusty, some may be really cold, some may be really hot, some may have some fumes or odors. There could be heavy machinery, moving machinery, requiring you to go up to heights and so on. So environmental limitations talk about the environment that you're performing work in. It's important to know what these areas reveal in your claim, because it has a lot to do with how possible it is for you to return to your past work as you performed it. And that's just for starters. It has everything to do with you being able to go back to work, whether it is back to your own jobs back from the past, or performing some other kind of work in the national economy that you had never done before. So whatever limitation you have on the RFC that will block your ability to do your past work can keep you from returning to those past jobs. And since you can't be sent back to your past work, what that means is you're this closer to getting that SSDI approval. So now I bet you're wondering, well, what if I have mental conditions and mental impairments, and I know that these will keep me from working? That's where the MRFC comes into the picture. And that's what I'm going to be covering in the next video. All you got to do is click on the screen right here, and it will take you to the video where I talk about the mental residual functional capacity. And I'll see you on the other side in that next video.